Well, would you look at that? The Colorado Rockies bouncing back after a disappointing loss on Friday to spoil Old Timers Day for the New York Yankees and their fan base. I bet you didn't have that on your bingo card as the Rockies beat the Yanks, not just beat them, smashed them in this game today on Saturday afternoon. Your final score 9-2, good pitching, and the offense came to life. We've been waiting for the offense to wake up. We've been waiting for the bats to get going, and they did that today. Plenty of hits, plenty of runs, plenty to talk about on today's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Let's get into it, folks.
You are Locked On Rockies postcast, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, 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 it is your Locked On Rockies postcast. Hope everybody is doing well out there as we get ready to break down a entertaining game, to say the least, between the Colorado Rockies and the New York Yankees as the Rockies emerge victorious here, getting back on the winning path. You absolutely love to see that. But most importantly, in my opinion, the offense woke up. It had been a bit of a slog there for the Rockies lineup, at least in recent memory, last couple of games. I believe they entered into this game in their last four played with only 7 runs combined. That, of course, dating back to the Washington Nationals series and yesterday against the Yankees in the series opener. But what do the Rockies do today? They flip that script upside down. The bats come to life, and they take down the Bronx Bombers, or the 2024 version of the Bronx Bombers, by a final score of 9-2. A dominant victory today for the Colorado Rockies. This is your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. You can follow me on social media at Media by AP. And today's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast is brought to you by our friends over at Supply House. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast online at SupplyHouse.com. And as always, guys, make sure to subscribe to the brand new, I'm so used to saying brand new. It's new-ish, right? It's been around for a couple of months, so it's not brand new, but it is still a new channel. Make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel, so that way you never miss an episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. And also, guys, we're going to be, well, not we, I guess we, because you guys are going to be a part of it as the audience and whatnot. I'm the host of the Locked On Broncos postcast, as well as the Locked On Buffs postcast. So same channel. That's why you're going to want to make sure to subscribe, so that way you can get your Rockies, Broncos, and Buffs postcasts all in the same place. Broncos final preseason game tomorrow. Excited about that one. And, of course, the Colorado Buffaloes, Coach Prime and company, kicking off their season here in just a few days on Thursday against North Dakota State. So that will be very exciting. So make sure to subscribe. We'll break it all down here as the seasons go along. But let's talk about this Rockies game today, shall we? Because it was actually, I always enjoy doing these shows. I really do, even when the Rockies are not very good, or they lose in embarrassing fashion, or they're not scoring runs. I'm a baseball nut at the end of the day, so I could talk baseball all day, but it's extra fun when you get to do a show that's a victory show, especially for a Rockies club that has been down and out for virtually the entirety of the season. Today, the Rockies winning 9-2, as we mentioned, they improved to 48-82. Oh, yeah, I gotta hold my breath when I say that. And the Yankees fall to 76-54. They're still in first place there in the American League Eastern Division. But just a good all-around game today, I would say, for the Rockies. We'll dive into kind of some of the sequencing of the hitters here in just a moment. But clean pitching across the board, timely hitting, and effective hitting, right? They got out to an early lead to the Rockies there in the first inning, and they just never turned back. And this is the type of game that you kind of want. You always want to win the games, right? I'm not breaking any news when I say that, but when you're kind of this middling, they're not even middling, when you're this cellar dweller type of team that maybe lacks a little bit of a direction, a little bit of an outlook per se, right? To be able to go into Yankee Stadium after losing the series opener in that sweltering New York summer heat and bounce back on Old Timers Day, right? Because the Yankee fan, they were celebrating the 2009 World Series team. So you had Derek Jeter and Jorge Posada and Alex Rodriguez and, all of those Yankee players that were on that team, Mark Teixeira, man, that feels like yesterday. And I don't like the Yankees, but like, it's crazy to think, like, I saw an interview from Alex Rodriguez and he's like, I'm a year away from 50. And I'm like, man, time flies. Like, it really does feel like it wasn't that long ago when the Yankees won that World Series back in 2009. Have not won one since. You'll have to see that. But at the end of the day, a lot of emotion coming into this game for the Yankees. That place was electric, right? Yankee Stadium is always one of the more interesting places to play a ball game, especially for a National League club like the Rockies, right? That don't make the trip to New York too often to play at Yankee Stadium. They'll play at Citi Field each and every season. But today, and what's also funny is and I don't know how they schedule these old timers days and whatnot, but I would think that it's a little bit akin to like a high school homecoming game where, typically in high school football, you want to win the homecoming game, right? Like you want to give yourself an opportunity. Everyone feels good, right? You got the homecoming dance that weekend, all that kind of stuff. And I would imagine that when the Yankees were deciding when they wanted to do their old timers day, they said, oh, here's this Saturday afternoon in the middle to end of August against a Colorado Rockies team that's probably not going to be very good. Odds are we could have a good chance to win that game. And what do the Rockies do? They waltz right into Yankee Stadium, again, rubbing off that loss from last night, and they take down the Yankees in thunderous fashion, 9-2. Maybe the Yankees were a little starstruck, a little caught up in the spotlights there with the former Yankee greats all around the ballpark today, of course, as they celebrated that 2009 World Series. But good victory for the Rocks. Some positivity to inject back into that clubhouse, which they've needed. We talk about it on the postcast each and every show that these are the dog days of summer, right? The light at the end of the tunnel is rapidly approaching. You can see that there's only about 5 to 6 weeks left in this baseball season. Maybe some of these guys start to get on vacation, but good for the Rockies today for locking in and getting the job done. Sorry, I had to take a swig of the water. Make sure I could do a good show for you guys here today. But all right, let's get into the sequencing of this game because, as we mentioned, the Rockies exploded for 6 runs in the first 3 innings of this ball game. And we had talked, I always end the shows, the final segment of the show, like usually my closing thoughts are centered around what is coming up for the Rockies. Like, what is their next game, right? We'll take a look at the pitching matchup and some of those dynamics, who's hot, who's cold, and whatnot. And one of the big things that we harped on last night was the Rockies were going to have an opportunity against a relatively inexperienced, and frankly, the experience that he has had has not been good, pitcher in Will Warren, the 25-year-old right-handed starting pitcher today for the New York Yankees. We talked about it last night that his numbers, not so great. He was all right against the White Sox on the 14th of August, gave up 2 runs in 5 innings pitched. He gave up 7 hits, but he had been rocked against the Angels in his start before that. And, the Phillies did some damage against him as well at the end of July. So this was just his 4th start of the season for Will Warren, and he got shelled in this one. The Rockies did a good job, as we mentioned, with their offense stepping up to the plate and pouncing on this young, unproven pitcher. He goes 3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned runs, 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. So the strikeouts are still apparent with the Rockies. They'll probably be apparent throughout the course of the season, or the rest of the season, I should say. But nice to see them attack Will Warren. And, what do I always say? There's 2 guys on this Rockies club that are going to be responsible for uplifting this Rockies offense and getting the Rockies offense going. And that is Ezekiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle. And Mr. Tovar did just that today after Charlie Blackmon flew out there in the first inning. He rips his 36th double of the season to left field. So that puts the runner on second with 1 out for the Rockies. And after a Brenton Doyle strikeout, Ryan McMahon is able to get home Ezekiel Tovar on an RBI single. And it was a rather close for Tovar. So you like to see the hustle there and, also the aggressiveness on the base pass. Like, it was a 1 hopper to left field, and, Tovar was able to get in before the ball, or I guess the ball simultaneously was kind of coming into home, but a high jump, and he's able to get in as the catcher is unable to make the tag there. So nice hustle, nice aggressiveness from the Rockies there on the base paths. You absolutely love to see that. And then, as we mentioned, they move forward there in the second inning. Nolan Jones able to get a run home via a sacrifice fly there. So just tons of pressure on Will Warren throughout his start today for the Yankees. And I think the Rockies did a good job of keeping that pressure on and kind of taking it up a notch and ensuring that they were going to not allow Will Warren to settle. And maybe this isn't the best apples to apples comparison, but like when Austin Gomber starts, right, we talk about how the first inning is the key for him. obviously you want to get any starting pitcher, relief pitcher, whatever it might be, hitter, right? You always want to try to get out to a good start. But I feel like in particular, when you've got a young, unproven guy on the mound, like you did today in Will Warren for the Yankees, the more pressure you can put on him from the onset, the better it's going to be for this club. And that's what I like to see from them today, is that aggressive approach at the plate, not allowing Will Warren to settle into any sort of groove, because that's the thing, is you could have given up, the Rockies could have scored the one run there in the bottom half or the top half of the first inning, and you feel good about yourself, right? And then you kind of let the game play out. But no, they kept their foot on the gas. They added a run in the second and then 4 more runs there in the third inning. You absolutely love to see it. As we mentioned, Nolan Jones gets the run home there in the top of the second inning via the sacrifice fly. But let's sequence out the third inning here real quick, just because this is some of the most action we've had in an individual inning. It feels like it's some time for the Rockies. And then we'll move along here to the starting pitching. And I've already said it today. I'm going to say it again. Ezequiel Tovar leads off the top of the third inning with not just his 37th double. He had his 36th double in the top half of the first inning, and he follows it up with his 37th double there in the top of the third inning. I mean, this guy is just incredible. Like, the one guy on the Rockies that generally could probably have a spot on most other teams. And I don't know where I cut off. So if you're listening on the audio feed, apologies. I'm going to splice it all together so it should sound good, even if you're watching it online. On YouTube, I'll splice it all together after the fact. My Wi-Fi went out in the middle of me recording. How great is that? We gotta roll with the punches here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. But kind of in conclusion, I don't know exactly where the Wi-Fi was able to cut out, but I was sequencing that third inning there for the Rockies as they're able to score a number of runs in this one. So long story short, what you need to know is Ezequiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle had themselves a day, which is often the case here for this Rockies club. So you love to see that, and we'll have to see if they can hopefully keep that thing going. But why don't we do like a firm reset? Let me hit my quick break. We'll come back and we'll continue on with the conversation. We'll talk about what went right for the Rockies, what went wrong. Not a lot went wrong for them today, but we can continue to break down how they scored their runs, and we also got to get into the pitching dynamic today. So stick with us. We'll be right back here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Liquid IV real quick, because when you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summertime hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. And guys, you know exactly what the popsicles that I'm talking about, the red, white, and blue firecracker popsicles that you used to eat as a kid. Well, yeah, they have them in Liquid IV form, so you're going to want to check them out for sure. Blast off with the iconic summer flavor of Popsicle Firecracker, a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. Find all of your favorite flavors on their website, from acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada. And guys, it's really that easy. All you got to do is tear, pour, and live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by Liquid IV's HydraSense, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. Always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Stay hydrated this summer, folks. It's 92 degrees out. I got just my regular water. I wish I had some Liquid IV. Might have to go ahead and make a trip to my local grocery store or check out the website online, liquidiv.com, and use code MLB for 20% off your first purchase with Liquid IV. All right. Let me also tell you about our friends real quick, guys, at Supply House, because listen up. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. I cannot stress that enough, guys. In the era of smartphones and computers and artificial intelligence, there's all these different problem-solving solutions that involve anything but a human. Don't worry, our friends over at Supply House make sure that you talk to a real person every time. Plus, pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every single order, guys. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Once again, guys, check them out, supplyhouse.com. You can shop for all of your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical product needs. Make sure to let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there. And apologies once again, folks. My Wi-Fi just went out. Oops, sorry. I'm like trying to figure out exactly where it went out. It looks like it went out in the middle of the first segment there. So apologies on that front. That's the last I'm going to mention it because you're not going to be able to tell the difference, hopefully, because I'm going to splice it all together after the fact. But make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. You can follow me on social at Media by AP. And let's continue along with some of the offense here for the Rockies as they put up a whopping 13 hits in this ball game. You absolutely love to see it. We mentioned that Ezequiel Tovar with a pair of doubles today in his 5 plate appearances. Good stuff from him. Brenton Doyle with an RBI. We mentioned that as well in the 3rd inning, so he gets a base hit. So there's your 2 boxes that are checked, right? Ezequiel Tovar, good day at the plate, check. Brenton Doyle, good day at the plate, check. And so on and so forth. Ryan McMahon had a run, was able to get a run home via the RBI. Brendan Rodgers with a base hit. Michael Toglia with 2 hits. Jake Cave had himself a day as well. He led the team with 4 base hits today. And here's the thing. I've talked about Jake Cave. It's been a while since I've talked about Jake Cave on the show, but he's one of those guys that is like the prototypical Rockies type of guy in the sense of journeyman player, middle of his career, hasn't really been able to stick with one team. And Colorado kind of brings him in and he finds a little bit of a role with this club. He has been I don't even want to say a little bit. He's been a leader of this club. Like I've been in the clubhouse a handful of times this year. And I always see him, walking around, hanging loose, playing cards with the guys, having a good time. And, Jake Cave, while there's some guys on the team that I'm like, what are you doing here? Right? Like what's the point? And maybe from a strictly directional perspective or an age perspective, Jake Cave probably fits that mold, but he's the one guy that I've really seen on a day in and day out basis, whether he's playing or not, making a positive impact on this club. And nice to see him be rewarded today. He had the walk-off earlier in the year as well, but 4 base hits for Jake Cave today. He's hitting .262 on the year as well. Nolan Jones with 3 RBI. Jake Cave with 3 RBI. Michael Toglia with a ribby. McMahon, Doyle, all with RBI as well. 9 runs batted in for the Rocks today off of those 13 hits. They did strike out. It's just like, man, they put up all these runs. How many times do you think the Rockies struck out today, folks? How many times? 14. 14 times. They struck out 9 times last night, and I made a big deal out of that. They struck out almost double the amount of times today. Everybody in this Rockies lineup, with the exception of Michael Tolia, excuse me. The G always throws me off in his last name. Tolia. It's not Toglia, Tolia. Everybody in this Rockies lineup today punched out at least one time, except for Mr. Michael. Blackman with a strikeout, Tovar with 2 strikeouts, Doyle with 2 strikeouts, McMahon with 2 strikeouts, Brendan Rodgers struck out 3 times, Jake Cave struck out once, Nolan Jones struck out once, Drew Romo struck out 2 times, and Drew Romo also had a hit. So nice to see the youngster come through with another base hit as his major league career is off to a little bit of an interesting start, but so it goes, right? But it's just one of those situations where I don't even know what to make of that. Like, clearly, if you're striking out 14 times, that's not good, not even close, right? And the fact that they're still able to power their way through and win this game in very convincing fashion, I just think is absolutely hilarious to a degree. It's just so Rockies, right? Like, we're gonna outslug you, we're gonna out hit you, but we're also gonna strike out 14 times and still figure out a way to win the ball game 9-2. But in the words of Buddy Black, that's baseball. That's just baseball for you, folks. There's really no other way to slice it. Like that is just the game that we all know and love. Sometimes things don't make sense. So the Rockies today punching out 14 times, but it did not matter. They struck out more. The Rockies struck out 14 times and they had 13 hits, more strikeouts than hits, and they end up scoring 9 runs to the Yankees 2. What do we make of it? I don't know. But I think the other part of it here is too, as to why that this game played out the way that it did, is Bradley Blalock, the starting pitcher today for the Colorado Rockies. He's been really sharp in his limited sample size with the Rockies. Only 23 years old. I don't know if this kid's going to be like, I don't know where he fits into the Rockies' future plans. Michael Toglia even mentioned it in his post-game interview that I was watching as I was getting set up for the show, that we've got a little bit. These are his words, not mine. I guess I've used the words on the show too, but nice to essentially hear it confirmed from somebody in the clubhouse that the Rockies are embracing this youth movement down the stretch. And there's a reason Jake Cave isn't playing a lot. There's a reason why they got rid of Elias Diaz, right? They want to let the young guys play so they have an idea of what they have moving forward here. And I just thought, with the way that I saw it today, it's just. Is Bradley Blalock going to be a potential future guy for this Rockies rotation? I can tell you this: he shouldn't be wearing number 64 if he's going to be a starting pitcher for the Rockies. But he turned in a really good performance today. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, all of them earned, 4 walks, which you don't love. But he did a good job of working around the damage there, and he punched out 5 batters. His ERA is at 3.06 for the season. That's his first big league win as well. So, like I said, you want to see those walks get trimmed down. You definitely don't want to have 4 over the course of 5 1/3 innings pitched. But the fact that he was able to kind of navigate those choppy waters and only give up the 2 earned runs, the lone runs of the day for this Yankees lineup, that's a win in and of itself. And you also got to give credit where credit is due, because the bullpen picked him up. Luis Peralta today, an inning and 2/3, clean across the board, 2 strikeouts. I believe he retired 5 consecutive batters in his outing today, or 6 consecutive batters. And Chavilli, clean inning, 1 inning, 0s across the board. Molina, 1 inning, 0s across the board, in addition to 2 strikeouts. So the pitching dynamic for the Rockies today: 9 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 runs allowed, all of them earned, 4 walks, which we just mentioned were all attributed to Blalock, and 9 strikeouts for the Rockies pitching staff. So clearly they had something working today, both in the rotation and in the bullpen. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come, because if this Rockies club is going to be able to get some consistency, not just down the stretch, but hopefully build some momentum going into next season with that rotation and that bullpen, I mean, that's all that's going to do is help stabilize things. And that's the thing. We mentioned it, right? The Rockies punched out 14 times today with their 13 hits. Like 9 times out of 10, the game does not play out this way. But I think a large reason why the Rockies were able to take the 9 runs out of it, this could have very well been a Coors Field Classic at Yankee Stadium, where with the walks and if the pitching had gone awry, this could have been a 12-9 type of dynamic game. And thankfully that wasn't the case, because the Rockies lineup picked up the hitters. It's almost weird for me to say that, right? Because they did put up 9 runs, but when you strike out 14 times, it's essentially half of your at-bats, when you look at it that way a little bit. And like I said, just one of the weirder dynamics today. But real quick on Blalock as well, I want to talk about this. He's got some late life on his pitches. That was one of my big takeaways. Is I was watching some of the sequencing on his strikeouts today. He had 5 of them, and even just some of the swings and misses that he was able to get. Even his fastball has that nice late bite to it, just a very sharp, clean, crisp fastball. And that really helps with the mixing up of his off-speed pitches. And I just thought I loved his approach today. I love the way that he attacked this Yankees lineup. And let me let you guys in on a little bit of a secret here real quick. The Yankees lineup is not that good. The Yankees lineup is not that good. They have 2 hitters. Now you're probably saying, Aniello, well, you always talk about how Tovar and Doyle are the only 2 players worth a darn in the Rockies lineup. Not that extreme for the Yankees, but when you look at it, I mean, it's Aaron Judge and it's Juan Soto, and it's kind of a bunch of guys. Juan Soto's hitting 297. Aaron Judge is hitting 332. And then you've got Torres leading off. He's hitting 238. Wells hitting 252. Jazz Chisholm's hitting 258. Anthony Volpe's hitting 249. Alex Verdugo's hitting 227. Trent Grisham's hitting 185. Rice hitting 178. And we talked about it yesterday, how Friday's win for the Yankees was kind of like a prototypical Yankees win where you score just enough, but you lean on your quality pitching. You see what happens when the pitching goes awry for the Yankees. This is not, I almost feel embarrassed for calling them the Bronx Bombers earlier in the show, because this Yankees core for the last, not just this team, like this year, like for the last, like the Aaron Boone tenure, they ain't putting up runs at will, like, the Yankee fan has been accustomed to in years past. And they really have to rely on threading that needle a little bit. And that's also part of the reason why they faltered in the postseason, because the pressure gets cranked up, your pitchers get a little itchy. And when the lineup isn't there consistently and you're relying on two guys in Juan Soto and Aaron Judge to manufacture a bulk of your runs, it's just not a recipe for success. So I liked the aggressiveness today from the Rockies pitching staff, as well as the lineup, as we mentioned in the first segment. But Blalock did a good job today. Again, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs. All of them earned 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. So we'll see where we can go from here with the rest of this Rockies team, with this bullpen, with this rotation. See what we can have, see what the Rockies can try to figure out what they have in some of these guys. Because, this is still at the end of the day an organization that is lacking a tried and true identity. I think Ezekiel Tovar is a building block. I think Brenton Doyle is a building block. I think if Nolan Jones can get right, he could potentially be a building block as well. Like, I guess you're going to lump Ryan McMahon in there because they didn't trade him and Dick Monfort loves him. But, this is a team that's still very much in need of an identity. That's a tongue twister. Excuse me. And I don't know. I liked the effort today. I liked the performance as they go out there and take care of business against the big bad New York Yankees, winning this game 9-2. So good stuff across the board. And away we go. All right, let's hit our final break of the show. When we come back, we'll go ahead and put a bow on it. We'll preview what is coming up for the Rocks tomorrow, a couple of closing thoughts on this game today. And you see it here in the bottom screen, if I could point the right way. The Rockies have a chance to win this series, folks. If they can go back into Yankee Stadium tomorrow afternoon and do what they did today, they're going to come out winners of 2 or 3. And look, I know that's not going to do much for their record at this point, but I think talking about momentum, talking about figuring out what you got, talking about morale, talking about dog days, a win tomorrow and a series victory at that would be nothing but good vibes for the Colorado Rockies. So let's hit our final break. We'll come back, preview the game tomorrow, and close out the show and get you guys on your way on this Saturday right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. Stick with us, folks. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Tonal, because for those of us who thrive on getting stuff done, including workouts, every minute counts. That's why you need Tonal, the smart strength training system that takes the guesswork out of working out so you can make sure you're making the most out of every rep. When life gets busy, fitting in a workout can be stressful. With Tonal, you can get efficient workouts personalized just for you, and they are available with the amount of time that you have. Even the most dedicated gym goers struggle with consistency, the commute, waiting for weights, other people's sweat. It makes skipping a workout very tempting. With Tonal, you can choose from thousands of workouts and train in a way that you actually enjoy at home. Tonal is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps get you stronger, and it's powered by artificial intelligence. So Tonal learns with every rep, so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move with detailed progress reports. They even create personalized programs and workout suggestions or recommendations based on your individual goals. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal will optimize every workout just for you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to the mom of 3, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com, Tonal.com, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.com, promo code Locked On MLB for $200 off. Be sure to check out our friends over at Tonal, guys, and use that code Locked On MLB for $200 off your purchase. It's a nice little chunk of change they're going to give you a discount on. Check out Tonal, and good luck on your fitness journey. All right. Locked On Rockies POSTCAST. Media by AP. Follow me. Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. Subscribe. And now we reset. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm going to mention it one more time because when a Wi-Fi, when you're a host like this, and when you're like going and you're in your Zen vibe and you're just kind of rolling with it and the thoughts are coming to your head and then your Wi-Fi just, it throws you off a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, reset. We talked about it there in the first and the second segments, and I just loved what the Rockies did on the baseball field today as well. We talked about the pitching, we've talked about the lineup, and just kind of like some general synopsis here. You know, with this club at this point in the season, when you're kind of reeling, right? When the games kind of seem to blend together and the pitching isn't there or the hitting isn't there and it's hot outside, right? It can be easy to lose sight of the game or lose a little bit of focus. And I just thought with what the Rockies did today, it's something to celebrate to an extent. And it's not nothing to go crazy about. It's not nothing to, a salute, whatever it might be. But it is something to sit back and say, you know what, this team does have some fight. And look, I've said it before on this show that even a broke clock is right twice a day, right? You're going to naturally win some of those games because there's 162 of them. But I liked the intensity that the Rockies played with because I'm thinking of the White Sox. I'm thinking of the Marlins. I'm even thinking different sport. But you remember the Denver Nuggets under Brian Shaw, and it was 1-2-3 Cancun, and or what was it, like 1-2-3 10 days or whatever it was. But like there was a big story back in the Brian Shaw era that the Nuggets players, when they would break out of their huddle, they would basically 1-2-3 X amount of days left in the season. And there's a lot of professional ball players or just professional athletes in general that when you're not winning and things aren't going well, you can just kind of check out mentally and physically to a certain extent. And you're kind of just waiting for your end of season to come up so you can go on your vacations and get back to your normal life and all that kind of stuff. But that's the thing. That was not the case for the Rockies today, as they very well could have just said, we scored 7 runs over the first 4 games of this road trip. Like, let's just get through these next 2 in New York, and then we'll get on to the next. And, it's just one step closer, one game closer, one series closer to the end of the season. They didn't do that today. And, it's a team that everybody loves to troll. Everybody loves to make fun of the Rockies, but they do have some fight in them. And to see it manifest in a positive way today for them to take down the New York Yankees, who are, one of, if not the most iconic franchise in Major League Baseball on Old Timers Day. I can't get over that enough. I love that they played spoiler. I made that analogy in the first segment that I would think, I don't know how they go about their scheduling, but I would think the Yankees, when they're trying to figure out when they want to do their Old Timers Day, much like high school athletic directors when they're planning their homecoming, you want to try to give yourself a little bit of a layup, a little bit of a softball, right? Because you want everyone to come out and have a good time, and you don't want any negativity in the air. The Rockies said, they chewed that up and spit that out, and they came out and embarrassed the Yankees today in front of their last World Series club. Guys like Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez and others in attendance today, and the Rockies just straight up did not care. They said, watch this. Yeah, our record isn't very good. Yeah, we're not even close to the postseason, but you know what? We can still play, and we can still play hard, and we can try hard. And they did that today with that 9-2 victory. Again, the Rockies, unfortunately, at 48-82, so not much of a direction left of this season, but taking some wind out of the Yankees' sails there, who fall to 76-54. Okay, let's take a look at what is coming up with the Rockies here in their next game. The series finale against the New York Yankees should be an exciting one tomorrow. 11:35 a.m. first pitch here in Colorado. So set your alarm, set your reminders. It's an early start time. Today was as well, but about an hour earlier, maybe a little bit less, but we're starting this game in the morning, technically, here in Colorado. And it'll be Austin Gomber on the mound. He'll take on Marcus Stroman of the New York Yankees, who's been pretty good this season. Gomber's numbers, 4-8 with a 4.64 earned run average to pair with 94 strikeouts. And Marcus Stroman is 8-6 with a 3.82 ERA and 92 strikeouts. And before I give you my spiel about Austin Gomber and getting out to good starts, let's take a look at his last couple of outings here for the Rockies. He's made a lot of starts this season as Austin Gomber, and he was on point last time out on August the 20th against the Washington Nationals. He turned in 7 really strong innings, 3 hits allowed, 1 run. It was earned, and it came via a home run, a solo shot, and that one did walk 2 and punched out 5. But Austin Gomber, really his last 2 starts have been pretty good. August the 20th against the Nationals, we just gave you that stat line. And August the 13th on the road against the Arizona Diamondbacks, he went 6 innings pitched, gave up 2 earned runs in that one, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. So back-to-back really nice outings from Austin Gomber. Does some of that have to be with both of those starts coming on the road, maybe getting out of Coors Field a little bit? I don't know. How does the short porch in right field potentially affect his mindset and mentality going into the game tomorrow? I don't know either. But one thing I do know is the key to success for Austin Gomber is getting out to a good start. We've talked about it time and time again. We'll talk about it tomorrow, depending on how this game plays out. Austin Gomber has an ERA in the double digits in the first inning of games this season. He has been an absolute mess in the first innings. But if he's able to put his best foot forward and have a clean inning in the first, we've seen Austin Gomber really settle into a groove throughout the course of the season. Again, a double-digit earned run average in the first inning, but his ERA collectively for the season across all of his outings, 4.64, which is not great, but I think it also speaks volumes to kind of the discrepancy there and the difference with Austin Gomber in the first inning and beyond. So we'll see if the Southpaw can get off to a good start tomorrow and put the Rockies in a nice position to try to win this game and win this series. That would be great. But if the Rockies are going to want to try to do just that, they're going to have to figure out a way to get past Marcus Stroman, who's been good for this Yankees club throughout the course of the season. His last time out, let's take a look here, was against the Detroit Tigers, and he did what he's been doing all year. Just 6 innings of clean baseball, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Boom. Clean outing for Mr. Marcus Stroman. And that was his second consecutive solid outing. He also turned in a good one at home against the Rangers, on the 11th of August. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 3 walks, and a strikeout. So, Marcus Stroman's never been known, at least recently, as an overpowering strikeout type of pitcher. So hopefully that should help the Rockies in trying to cut down on some of their strikeouts. He does get a little prone to the walk, so you want to see some patience and temperance from the Rockies at the plate tomorrow. But here's what I can tell you: as long as they trim down on those walks, and if they trim down on those strikeouts, and they approach this game tomorrow like they did today, I think the Rockies have got themselves a good chance to win this ball game tomorrow. So we shall see. Austin Gomber, Marcus Stroman, 11:35 a.m. first pitch. We'll see how that plays out. But all in all today, folks, good stuff from the Rocks. They take down the New York Yankees 9-2. Offense was on point. Doyle doing his thing. Tovar doing his thing. Jake Cave with a big day. Tolia with a big day. So nice to see the Rockies offense snap out of the little bit of a slump that they had been in for quite some time. So you love to see that. Good pitching across the board. Hopefully a sign of things to come. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for me on today's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Appreciate you guys rocking with me on the show today, this lovely Saturday afternoon, August the 8th, the year 2024. So 082424. Look at that, a little bit of synergy there. Go out there, sun is shining, enjoy your day. That's what I love about day baseball as well. You still got the whole afternoon and evening ahead of you. So go ahead and do that. And we'll be back at it again mañana. I'm on social at Media by AP if you want to follow me. And make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel, so that way you never miss an episode of your postcast. Rockies win 9-2. Series is evened up at a game apiece. Let's see if they can win it tomorrow. We'll break it all down then. But for me, I'm out. Enjoy your Saturday. We'll talk to you guys mañana. Have a good one, folks.